Hey, good people, it is Saturday. I am back from my little recovery hiatus, recovery mode, break, whatever you want to call it. It feels good to be back after a short and long, in a sense, 2 weeks just about. Wisdom teeth removal, surgery, and recovery definitely sucks. But the end result, once you get a little bit further down the road, it's definitely, it produces good results. So, what a journey. Let's get into it. So I haven't talked in like full-blown paragraphs in a week and a half, so words may be a little jumbled, faster, slower. When I edit though, I am going to speed this up as fast as I can because I know I'm going to be sitting here for a minute because I just want to talk to y'all about everything and just kind of decompress because it has been more than just a physical toll. It's been emotional and mental as well. I did mention wisdom teeth complaints here and there, but this is the vlog where we get into from the beginning to now. Going back to the very beginning, I don't really know what specific time I started experiencing pain, but it would be here and there and it would last for like a couple hours or days and then would go away. Like it would come in phases. Of course, when you become an adult, you transfer over from pediatric doctors. Once I got to my new dentist after turning 18, at that appointment, my dentist mentioned like, yes, you do have wisdom teeth. And at the time, they were the least of my problems. So he did send a referral for an oral surgeon. We ended up using that, of course. And so it wasn't a problem at the time. That was until we got to the first weekend of October and it got serious where my bottom left wisdom tooth was hurting like crazy. Kind of walk you through that timeline of events when it started getting really bad. On October 4th, which was a Saturday, I ate peanut butter as like my before dinner midday snack. The more I ate, the more pain I felt, especially with that wisdom tooth. The peanut butter just really attacked it bad and my jaw started hurting and closing in and it was getting harder to swallow. I was laying on the couch, sprawled out, guys, with my with the inflamed side of my mouth on an ice pack and a pillow while watching college football. And that evening was so draining. I woke up on that Sunday, October 5th, in pain. I could barely open my mouth. My jaw felt like it was shut tight, honestly, and I took something again, at least to just get me to and through church, but it was still very painful. I am media director at our church. Here I am with this ice pack on my face the entire service while I'm also controlling and working the cameras. I was looking for relief by any means necessary. So I got through Saturday, Sunday, and then we come to Monday, and I happen to be filming weekend recap of this weekend where my wisdom tooth was acting up. Monday is when it starts getting to the headaches, and it would start in my jaw and then move up further, like up to my head. As the rest of the first full week of October went on, I had less pain and it looked less inflamed. My original consultation with my oral surgeon was October 29th. Thankfully, by a cancellation, it was able to be moved up 2 weeks earlier to October 15th. My consultation was, it was good. It was pretty good. I was immediately impressed with the friendly staff, the new facility, and just the simple process. Of course, the whole appointment, 98% of it was literally just signing paperwork, information, and consent, because when you're a new patient and an institution has no records of you, it is your time to shine with that pen. I will say, when I was sitting there putting my initials next to like the pre-op and surgery recovery stuff and risk requirements, I don't think I fully comprehended and read all of what I was signing just because of my nerves. For those who don't know, I actually had scoliosis surgery, a spinal fusion at the age of 12, which was roughly 6.5 years ago. The operation was 5.5 hours long, and that was the first surgery I ever had. So as far as a reference point to surgery, anesthesia, IVs, needles, all that, that's it for me. Although that spinal fusion is a past event, it did cause physical and psychological trauma I have worked through, and I'm still working through it because it's a journey, and it did a lot to me physically, mentally, and emotionally. The psychological trauma resurfaced more heavily in ways like anxiety. Therefore, this wisdom tooth removal was a big deal for me compared to how it would for other people. After my consultation appointment, I let my two closest best friends know. They are like siblings to me, and they know pretty much everything now. I mean, we haven't known each other very long, high school, so roughly 5 years, but they really are like siblings to me. And although us three, we are all in 3 separate cities and states for college, and I'm the only one who stayed home and they moved away, we still keep in touch and share what's going on, and there was no way that they weren't going to know about this. Now with my sister, she's not super deep. It just depends on what we're talking about. It's more of like date, time, location, logistics. With my brother, it's more of details, dump, debrief, date, location, time, fears, concerns, emotions, and just a lot more in depth. And what I told you guys about not being able to fully process the paperwork I was signing just because I was on edge and just filled with nerves, I told my brother, and he was just giving me this pep talk, and he just got me back into that calm space as a protective, supporting, and caring brother does, even 5 hours away at college. I did not grow up with any biological siblings. My parents were one and done, and I enjoyed my life as an only child, but in recent years, God gave me the sweetest best friends in high school that turned into more of a sibling bond, and it changed the way I viewed my life in many ways. God has given me a glimpse of siblinghood in a sense, and I love it here. So having the support of both my brother and sister was great for me. They have different ways, of course, of showing me love and support, but it's thoughtful and meaningful, and it's been such a gift. After the hardcore experience with the wisdom tooth on my bottom left one in October, I never really had any more problems again that were as or more excruciating before surgery, which was very nice. We fast forward to November 14th. It also helped that we had just come out of a very, very chill weekend with Veterans Day. I spent time with friends and family, like my parents, godparents, siblings, like a core group of people who really just gave me a great weekend that was stress-free and all about quality time. I know how anxious I get, especially when I overthink about stuff, and I also have a playlist that I change often. It's called This Season. So I changed the playlist often to match the season that I'm in. And so I had a lot of motivational, positive songs rolling leading up to surgery. Of course, you have the pre-op prep and recovery instructions, and I genuinely wanted this process to be as smooth as possible because, once again, psychological trauma is a real thing, and I wanted to be as far away from stressed as I possibly could be. I had class on November 13th, which was the day before, so it kept me occupied with something other than the main event until I got home. Mom and I, we went to the store, we did some shopping to prepare both me and the house for this little mini recovery phase of life. And the night before, I did have nerves, but not compared to the morning of. Morning of was just such a blur. I had to put on my music and just shut up because I wasn't trying to be nervous, but I really was. And I was super, super jittery once we got to the oral surgeon. And I just remember them calling me back and getting on that little bed. And one of the nurses asked me if I had any questions or concerns before everything got started, and I just paused there for a minute, just taking the time to work through the fear and think through the emotions of the moment. And then it's where it all begins. They lean me back, and then here I go. I knew it. I start crying, and I had flashbacks to my first surgery, looking up and seeing, lights, equipment, beeping noises, hearing that. I didn't know how bad the trauma was from my spinal fusion until it overlapped into getting my wisdom teeth removed. I'm sitting there losing my mind. And one thing though that I appreciate about this experience is that the staff, oh my word, highly and extremely patient, very understanding, and explained every single thing they did and what it was for before they did it or before they put something in me or on me. The doctor who actually was the oral surgeon, he also put in the IV, and it was super quick, one poke. Oh my word, such a great job. So I'm laying there after the hard part, but I'm still crying. And suddenly for a second I was by myself with some peace and quiet, and the nurses could tell that I was trying to calm down, but I couldn't, even with it just being me in the room. And the emotions were very overwhelming in the moment. I had lots of anxiety. While I was in the room though, I kept repeating to myself, like, I'm safe, I'm okay. My parents are literally just down the hall. They can't leave. My godparents are praying for me, my siblings, like, I have the best care right now. I am okay. And so the nurses come back in and they stay this time and they give me the calming meds because they're required to stay in there once they give you the drugs. And so I'm laying there with lots of beeping noises, and my heart rate starts to calm down a lot with that. And then I was off to sleep. I don't remember anything else, but I do remember someone tapping me and saying, like, Zuri, are you ready to go home? And I remember that, and nothing about the drive home. I don't remember ever getting in the car. I just opened my eyes and poof, I was laying in bed. And I spent the rest of that day, some sleeping, some relaxing. My parents and I were all chilling in my bed at one point, and I needed to eat so that I could take at least the first dose of meds, but I was still very limp and weak. And so my dad fed me. Top tier girl dad for sure. I absolutely love my dad. Probably slept again, woke up and felt better, like I could stand by myself and walk to the bathroom. Still a little bit wobbly, but getting back up on my feet again. Just basically trying to get the blood out of my mouth. Oh my gosh. And mom read messages of everybody sending prayers and well wishes. I played some games on my tablet for a little bit, and then I felt sleepy again, and then I had this random surge of energy, but then I felt a little sad too. Definitely meds. But what got me out of that little sadness swing was finishing the night off with a FaceTime call from my brother Bear, the one that calmed me down before surgery and told me to stop looking up stuff on the internet. But anybody and everybody knows that my brother is literally, he's one of my protectors, bodyguards, and he's just all the things a brother is and does, and he exemplifies that. So anybody who's gonna lift me up, it's gonna be my brother. Eventually we both realized that it was time for bed, and so he was like, you better get some sleep and update me on how you're feeling in the morning. After that I showered, finally got that stuck IV bandage off of me, and then I said goodnight to mom and dad. They tucked me in. So that was basically surgery day. I was still very much bleeding. I took some medication, the knockout meds, on the first night. The first dose made me sleepy, but it didn't get rid of the pain. So I still felt the same pain as I did before, but then I took it again a couple hours later, and that really knocked me out. And so I didn't wake up on that Saturday until probably 2:15 p.m. But once it got like in my system every other night for probably the next 5 days, like it kicked in the first time. With that being said, it's just been a week of potatoes, soup, yogurt, ice cream, meds, medicated mouthwash, all that stuff. I've been getting back into soft meats and vegetables and other things, so easing back into it and not doing too much too soon. My sweet family, they've just been so supportive, checking in on me, praying, flowers, text, all the things. I spent 2 days at home, Friday, which was surgery day, and then Saturday. So Sunday, almost a week ago, was my first day back out in civilization among other people, and other people than just my parents and I, to go to church. Sunday was really slow for me, but somehow we got to church on time. Like, how? I don't know, honestly. All three of us in one car at that. Sunday was great being at church and all that. I love church, but my social, emotional, mental, and physical battery was just so weak, and my emotions were definitely bouncing everywhere because of the medicine intake. Into this past week of going back to college, trying to get back into the normal routine, it has been rough. I was on knockout meds from that Friday, surgery day, until Tuesday the 19th. So emotions were here, there, everywhere. And I went to my annual doctor's appointment a couple days after the surgery, like Monday. Yeah, this past Monday. And I've had a little slight, hold on, it's coming to me, astigmatism. There we go. Astigmatism, trouble focusing because my brain and eyes got really fuzzy and foggy, and it's been that way all this week. I've had severe brain fog, losing train of thought mid-sentence. So surprisingly, I'm doing good right now. Must be getting better. Staring off into space for an unusual extended amount of time. Tired all the time, but I'm starting to get my energy back, and I think that's basically because my parents and I decided, like, I'm good to not take the meds anymore because I'm not in as much pain. Well, the emotional sadness, all that after surgery and recovery phase is brutal. For me, it's like you can't eat much, you can't drink much, medicine every day until you feel good again without it. Can't sleep how I want to because you have to sleep elevated so that the blood doesn't just drain to the back of your mouth and you don't swallow it. So I have been sleeping elevated on my back on millions of pillows this past week, and my back is starting to hurt. So physically, emotionally, and mentally, I've just been trying to give myself grace all over again, because this is recovery. It still takes a toll, especially when it's during a season where you have things to do. It's holiday season. You're trying to get a degree, you're in college. But I am glad I got it done so that I don't have to worry about it ever again. That's why I've been gone. And so that's the timeline of events and all that's happened. I'm excited because Thanksgiving is on Thursday, and I'm excited to be with my family. November weekend recap a few weeks ago goes into detail about the plans for this year's Thanksgiving in my family. So if you missed it, definitely go back and watch. Thank you guys so much for your prayers, just the love. Oh man, it's been so kind and so nice. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you on Thanksgiving.